Hi there, Professor Cloud here, or Brian if you prefer. I've been putting together some videos and an article recently related to tooling that Microsoft provides inside of the Azure Portal to help with ARM template development, management, and deployment. I covered the export template feature that's available in all resources. I've also covered the Resource Explorer to help you learn about the ARM template language and what specifications you can use for different types of resources. The last tool that I want to touch on is the deploy a custom template. This has been available for the last couple of years, and it is a wizarded approach to deploying a template. Now, it is very intricate and has a lot of different capabilities, some of which allow you to deploy quick start templates that Microsoft has made available via GitHub. But it also has the ability for you to deploy your own custom template. You can even write them from scratch inside of an editor. So let's take a look at this tool. I'm not going to be able to dive into every single detail about it, but let's go ahead and talk about it a little bit anyhow. The first thing is, much like Resource Explorer, you're not going to be able to easily find it in any of your navigation pages or blades. The easiest way to find it is either in the search bar or in the All Services. And then, of course, once you use it on a regular basis, it'll stay up here in your Quick Start. We go to All Services. We should be able to do a quick search under Filter and just look for Deploy. Oops, sorry about that. And the first one you've got here is deploy a custom template. You've also got deployment scripts. Now, deployment scripts are ones that you've saved, that you have deployed multiple times, whether they be individual templates that you have exported or ones that you've uploaded yourself. But if you want to actually go through the process of deploying a template, putting in all the necessary parameters and things like that, you're going to do deploy a custom template. Of course, we could have found this through the search bar up here as well. Let's go ahead and click on this. Now, the first page that you're going to get is to select a template. It assumes that you're going to be starting from something that already exists inside of Azure, whether it's one of the common templates that Microsoft makes available to you, which can deploy something simple like a Linux VM, Windows VM, you get the idea, or you can use a quick start template that is available in Microsoft's GitHub. And there are hundreds of available quick start templates that are in the GitHub repository. And they are almost all here, and they are constantly being updated, added to, and so on. So if you do want to start from one of those, please feel free. If you want to look at these in more detail, the URL for the repository is at the end of the article. I've also made it available in the description of this video. It is github.com/Azure/Azure Quick Start Templates with dashes in between each word. In our instance, though, what I really want to show you is how to deploy your own template. You already have written one. You've gone through the process of using the tooling, using Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio to create your ARM template. You've used all of the necessary documentation, Resource Explorer, to help you make sure that your spec is in fact functional. We're going to use the link here called Build Your Own Template in the editor. And you're going to get a blank screen with the most basic format of a JSON template for ARM. What you're going to want to do, and this is what I have done numerous times, first, you can upload a quick start template. So if you want to use one of those to start from and do the editing here inside of the Azure portal, you absolutely can. You can also click on Add a Resource, and it will add one of these available resources to your template. Obviously, this is not an exhaustive list. What I would recommend that you do is take the template that you've been working on in Visual Studio Code, the entire thing from beginning to end, parameters, variables, resources, even the output section if you happen to be using it, and copy and paste it directly here. The next thing that you're going to do is click Save. That will then do the initial scripting validation of the template, make sure that the JSON is well formed, and make sure that the spec matches what is available inside of the different API versions for each of the resources that you've defined. You can also load a file. If you do have a JSON file available on your local hard drive, you can go ahead and upload that as well. The next thing is, and actually what I will do is I'm just going to go ahead and bring in a quick start here called, let's do application workloads. I couldn't find it for some reason. Error getting template details. Click here to open template repository. All right. Here's what we'll do. I will copy and paste directly from GitHub. And, oh, there's why. All right, so we go to Azure Quick Start Templates. We go to the 100 blank template. Nope, that's not the right one, sorry. Application workloads, and we will choose, Azure Game Dev. And we use actually no, let's use the VM scale sets. So here is my ARM template. I am going to go ahead and copy and paste the entire script. And then go back here, copy and paste. Now, the very next thing I'll do is click Save. It's already done a quick scan to validate that everything looks good. The next thing it's going to do is it's going to ask for parameters. Now, the majority of these under instance details are ones that are specific to the ARM template. The top ones are going to be required for every single ARM template that you deploy. Which subscription, which resource group. You're then going to fill out all of the necessary parameter values. The ones that have red stars, of course, are listed as required inside the ARM template. The rest of them are not. Some of them you can see have drop downs. And that's because there are different values that can be populated for those individuals that have been defined inside of the ARM template. So for example, the SKU, you'll notice that the location has been hard-coded to a specific function. You can choose a specific image SKU for these VMs that are going to be deployed, and so on. You get the idea. The very next thing that you'll do is you'll click on Review and Create. That's then going to do a full ARM template deployment validation. Now, if you've ever done an ARM template deployment either via Visual Studio or say via the CLI, no matter whether it's PowerShell or Azure CLI, this validation actually occurs. It basically does a check against every single resource block to validate that a deployment will work. Not just that it's well formed, not just that it meets the spec, but that it actually will work when trying to deploy into Azure. Meaning, it'll check for conflicts. It'll check and make sure that the name of a storage account is all lowercase letters. For example, it meets all of the minimum requirements for each resource that you are deploying inside of that ARM template. Once that validation has occurred, you'll then get to a final screen, you'll hit deploy, and the deployment process will go off and running, and you can actually watch it run step by step as it deploys each individual resource into your subscription and into your resource group. Now, you might be asking, well, Brian, why do I want to use this? Why don't I want to use the Azure CLI or Azure PowerShell? The reason I will tell you is, in my humble opinion, I've used this numerous times. During the development process for your template, before it's in a final state, this is a great way for you to see much faster, in my opinion, what the error messages are that you might see in your template, what you might need to fix, what problems you might want to run into. The Azure CLI, Azure PowerShell are absolutely going to be your go-tos, however, in an automated deployment fashion, whether you're using an Azure DevOps pipeline or some other tooling. The Azure CLI and PowerShell are absolutely going to be the way to go. But during the development process, as you're adding new parameters, as you're adding new resources, this is going to give you a much more visual view in a faster manner to validate that things are working. In addition, you'll be able to, of course, just add a piece here or there. Because of the way that the ARM template functions, you'll be able to say, add a resource at a time without having to redeploy everything else into your development environment. So hopefully this has been of value to you. Hopefully I've been teaching you something that has been new to you. And of course, if you have enjoyed the content, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. Please make sure to hit the like button. And hopefully I'll see you again in another video real soon.